Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
A rookie sports reporter told Phil Mickelson, "You are spectacular. Your name is synonymous with the game of golf. You really know your way around the golf course. What's your secret?" Phil Mickelson replied, "The holes are numbered." Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you on a Tuesday. Might get a little bit more of the sprinkles today. We'll hear the weather in just a moment, but right now I want to say thank you to our big sponsor of Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers. Western Way Services always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. And Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley-Wide Home and Ranch. Right now, our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I really liked your emphasis on the key words. Thank you, sir. That was very well done. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You betcha. That was good. God bless him. And calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It is time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door, and oh my goodness, they've got everything for all your home decor needs. You better stop in and see them today, and they have everything to make your house a home. What is today? Well, today is Tuesday, and it's Tile Tuesday at, of course, our friends, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And for a shower floor, use only a tile size 7x7 or smaller so that you get that dip for the drainage. Oh, they know everything about how to make your house a home. Right there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Morning thunderstorms, about a 40% chance, rain showers and clouds off and on throughout the day. Winds out of the west right around 6 miles an hour. Expect a high of 82. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit better. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82 with an overnight low of 54. Thursday and Friday, pretty much the same. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the low 80s. And then for Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, dropping down to about 76. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I also appreciate Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And we're created to give customers home design products that are aisles apart, not miles apart. You call them or stop in 678-6945. Look for the blue door at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Hey, don't forget Thursday's sale day. They'll bring the gavel down and they'll be auctioning off the best of cattle right there at the Burley Livestock Sale Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for consignments or sale information, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy. The sale that works for you on Thursdays. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Thursday, sale day. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Thursday is also Lunch Bunch Day at Denny's Restaurant. We're going to tell you a little bit more about that, but don't forget, put that on your calendar. At 11:30 on this Thursday, it is Lunch Bunch. And we want to also thank Smith's Food King, Walmart, and Handsome Mortuary for the door prizes. And we'll have a lot of other stuff, too. And don't forget, July is Ice Cream Month, so celebrate with a nice, tasty dish of ice cream. Hey, Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. I tell you what, if they can take care of my old Rumply Crumplies, when I'm finished them, I put them in a bag, take them over there and say, here you go. Wow. I give up hope sometimes on my Wranglers and some of my shirts, but they come back looking brand spanking new. Oh, they're the best. And they can restore a lot of items too. And dry cleaning really prolongs the life of the garment. At Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, you stop in and see them today. Don't know what we would do without SafeLink Internet. Nope. Well, actually, Deanne's the one that would miss it because yours truly not too adept at using the computer. But anyway, SafeLink Internet. Number to call, 677-8000. First month free, plus free installation, no contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. Hey. Get a hold of Idaho's number one choice for a wireless internet, SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. Well, here we go. The Iranian nuclear deal supposedly is ready to go. Thumbs up or thumbs down by our Congress. But already this morning early, President Obama stood there in front of the podium espousing all the wonderfulness of this Iranian deal, and everybody else that has seen it, looked at it, and pondered it, they're walking away shaking their heads. Especially our number one ally in the area, Israel. Israel said this deal is a farce, and it may ignite Middle Eastern nuclear arms race. But here's what's so funny about Obama. He said he welcomes the debate on this Iranian deal. He welcomes the criticism and the critiquing and the questions, but he said he'll veto anybody that tries to get in his way with stoppage of this deal. Mr. Ego-centered, Barack Obama. And I'll tell you what, this is such a joke. When you look, I'm not an expert on Iranian nuclear deals, never claimed to be. I'm not one of those talk show hosts that sits there and is going to go, I know this and I know that. No. But I did pick apart a couple of things that you really have to question. We have to call them. In other words, the United States and the UN has to call them, the Iranians, to arrange inspections. Whoa, wait a minute, stop the wagon, Gus. We have to call them to arrange inspections. Let's see, we're busy on Tuesday the 17th, so we're going to have to wait until maybe the 31st. And that gives them ample time to cover up anything that they don't want people to see. We have to call them to arrange inspections? Are you kidding me? And here's another line out of the treaty. UN inspectors can press, there's the word, press for inspections. Wait a minute. The inspectors can say, hey, we really would like to come by and inspect you if it's not going to disadvantage you. Oh, please let us in. What are you talking about? What kind of an arms treaty on nuclear proliferation and nuclear ownership is this, where you... Can we please come by and see if you're building a nuclear bomb? Oh, Tuesday's not good for you? Okay, we'll come 2 weeks from next Wednesday. What kind of idiocy is this? It's the idiocy of the Obama administration. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. And they open the doors at 7:30 in the morning, stay open till 5 at night, Monday through Friday. And they've got all your heating and electric needs. They've got all the knowledge. They got the best of people. They've got all your air conditioning filters. I mean, hey, all you have to do is call them and they'll have your order waiting on the counter, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Really good folks. Oh, and when I talk about good folks, I also have to mention, naturally, Valleywide Home and Ranch. And they're a proud sponsor of the 4-H'ers, and they've got everything that the 4-H'ers need for their products over there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. And I know it's kind of a last-minute deal. The fair season is right here. They've got all your grooming aids. They've got all your equipment. They've got all your saddles and tack and bits and spurs and reins and everything else for your horse project. Everything. Stop into Valleywide Home and Ranch. And by the way, they got all the doggone bug spray and fly spray. You know, they're really getting thick the last couple of days, and so stop into Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. It is true. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Well, I'm doing just wonderful. How are you this morning, Zeb?
Well, I got a story coming up in a little bit that just kind of made my face wrinkle in some worried frowns. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, probably just like the rest of us. I am so sick and tired of this administration thinking that they can speak for the people. He's doing the same thing with this nuclear arms deal it's the same mistake of pulling out of the Middle East before we had everything in place. Somebody, somewhere, Congress, Senate, the House, somebody has to tell this man, enough. You're out of here, bucko.
Well, I'll tell you what I really would like to see, and I don't think it's going to work, but I would like to see it. I would like to see Congress give a thumbs down on this nuclear deal. I would like to see enough pressure applied by Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu and others that it would be a thumbs down in Congress and really put some egg on Obama's face. Now, he did make the threat this morning that he'd veto anything like that, but I want to see some senators and congressmen stand up and start to show some backbone.
Well, you and me too. I just think if they don't do something pretty soon, I don't know if we could ever recover from all of his crap that he's put in place.
Well, now, right there is the key that unlocks the door. All of his problems that he's trying to impose on us, all of the regulations, all of the new laws, all of the bending of the Constitution, all of the giving the liberal left more power over everything than any time before. I am very concerned like you, but I honestly, I hate to sound negative, Donna, I don't think it's going to change.
I don't think so either. There has been so many cases in which he could have been impeached and put out of office before all this mess happened, but nobody wanted to take the initiative to get it done. We, the people, need to stand together and say, you know what, you guys work for us. Remember that.
Yeah, but Donna, the problem is, Donna, and this is the bottom line. The bulk of the people today have got their hands out. The bulk of the people today want a gimme, 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 I want attitude. And if the government under this administration is going to give it to them, they're never going to turn around and bite the hand that feeds them.
Well, you're probably right there. That's what got him reelected in the first place.
Yes.
And it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans, it's the whole dadgum mess. People don't have the cojones to stand up and do what's right.
They are too concerned. They're too concerned, Donna, and you know this is true. They're too concerned with keeping their cushy little job in the Senate or the House, and they're not going to make any waves. They're going to just give lip service back to their constituents, and I don't care if it's Idaho representatives or if it's anybody in the nation. They're a bunch of wimps that have lost their backbone.
I couldn't have said it better. In fact, you probably said it a whole lot better than I would have.
Well, and you had me scared, too. God bless you, Donna. Thank you. All right, take care. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, my friend.
All right, thank
Bye.
you. Caller, I got to do a quick break for 1 minute. Stand by. Don't you dare hang up. There's a penalty if you hang up. You got to pay $200. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. As I said, we're going to have Zeb's Lunch Bunch over there this Thursday at 11:30. Thomas and Terry, and we're going to have all kinds of great food. You can order off the menu, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's fantabulous. I guarantee it. And they've also got a location in Twin, too, if you're going to Twin. At 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I love breakfast. That is my meal at Denny's Restaurant. You're going to love it. You stop over and see them today. Or be sure and come Thursday when we have Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. Barry Equipment and Rental. That's with an R, Zeb, not a W. It's not Wental, it's Rental. There you go. Eli, Nick, the whole crew serving you with 3 locations. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And I mean this. They have all the equipment to do the job and get it done right. Stop in today. I don't care if you need loaders. I don't care if you need the Bobcat tractors. I don't care if you need the Doosan equipment. They've got it all. And the big Walker mowers. Oh, those puppies are nice, let me tell you. All of this and more at Barry Equipment and Rental, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb. Yeah, I wouldn't dare hang up. I don't want that penalty.
Okay. Good man.
Hey, I tell you, these guys are a hoot. I'd laugh if it wasn't so serious. They were saying on the news this morning how this was a good treaty with the Iranians, and if it wasn't, they can detect the radiation.
Yeah.
What in the? Who do they take us for? They've had years and years to detect the radiation. Didn't say a word. Why is that going to work now?
You know, Art, honestly, when I look at this deal that was made and who made the deal, especially headed up by John Kerry, I don't know what your thoughts about John Kerry are, but here is a Secretary of State that has a very shadowy past. Do you remember his service in Vietnam? Do you remember his lies? Do you remember his testifying in front of Congress that he just didn't think that much of America? And now he's making deals for America and the world? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he fits right in with these guys. I don't trust him any further than I can throw him.
You know, and like you said, though, to use your words, you'd laugh if it wasn't so serious. And right now, people that are in the know are really sweating bullets, literally, over how bad this deal could be for our number one ally in the region, Israel. They're sweating over the fact that this might stimulate and start a nuclear arms race with all the countries in the Middle East. And Obama sits back, basically twiddling his thumbs, saying, oh, goody, I got my legacy just the way I want it.
Yep, that's the way it'll end if people don't get together here. There's too few of us.
Well, we've got to stand up. You know, I agree with what Donna said a moment ago. It would just tickle me to see somebody really stand up to Obama and cause him a bunch of heartache over all the things that he's done against our Constitution and the value system of America.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And that doesn't even begin to tell you how disgusted I am with things going on this morning. And I've got another story, and I certainly hope my dear friends at CSI are listening in. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget BASF. BASF, committed to successful agriculture with their excellent research for all the crops to grow better crops with the products that will help you. And, of course, Ron Ellis, 431-6776. There is the man that can tell you all about these different products, along with your field men and crop advisors. And I suggest you get a hold of them today and talk about Preaxor for black dot in the potatoes. And also talk about what you need for your sugar beets to grow bigger and better crops. They can help, and they will, with BASF. Committed to successful agriculture. You call my dear friend Ron Ellis today at 431-6776. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Thank you. See, I was listening. I know this is off your topic this morning, but I was listening yesterday and did not have a phone available to call in. Concerning the 15-year-olds in Oregon, it's a proven scientific fact that the brain is not fully developed until age 24, 25. So those 15-year-olds have no understanding of what they are doing.
Yeah, but wait a minute, ma'am. In this case, in Washington State, or Oregon, the state of Oregon, pardon me, in this case, it goes further than that. It's a proof now that the brain is not developed in congressmen and senators in the state of Oregon until they're well past 65.
That's understandable.
God bless you for your call. I agree with you, and thank
there was
you.
One more thing, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I hear, I'm a school teacher, and I even hear it in school, but on the Pledge of Allegiance, if you look it up and read it, there's one phrase in there. It says, one nation under God. There's no comma after nation. And it is one nation, the United States, and we are under God. We are privileged to live in this nation because of God. So it should be said, one nation under God.
I agree with you, but I am guilty also, especially with
a lot of people are.
Well, no, but let me finish my point on this as to why. I specifically started emphasizing the words under God, and for one reason and one reason only, is because this administration has done so much to deteriorate a value system with our churches and our religion that when I say the pledge, it almost acts like a pause or a comma, because I say one nation under God, and I do put the emphasis there.
Okay. I totally understand.
I do appreciate your call. God bless you and have a wonderful summer.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much. Nice lady right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, boy, are they going to have a lot of fun at the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. I'm telling you what, these folks really know how to live it up. Coming up this Saturday night, the 18th, the United Truck and Tractor Pull, and then on Monday, the 4-H Horse and Pony Show. Next Tuesday, the Dairy Show and Junior Rodeo, and the list goes on and on. Horse pulling with the Utah Horse Pullers. Ranch Rodeo next Thursday, the 23rd, and then the big IMPRA Rodeo on Friday and Saturday. Holy buckets. I mean, the folks up at Shoshone in that area, in Lincoln County, they know how to put on a fun time. So get your boots on and put a new crease in your hat and get over to the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. It's going to be fantastic. Always is. July 18th through the 25th. Caller, I got 1 minute before a hard break at the bottom of the hour. Go ahead, please.
Okay, the thing that I see this morning on the news when they were talking about that Iran deal, got your radiation suit good? That'll guarantee that Iran gets the bomb, and they already have the missiles that'll reach Tel Aviv, Israel. And so one of the restrictions in there that I thought will allow this is it's between the requests for inspection of the site and the delays that they've imposed in this agreement. It would take them 24 days before they could even go and look.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know as well as I do, that's a farce. These people that are in control of the nuclear program, they're laughing so hard they've got tears running down their eyes over in Iran. 24 days you can hide anything, and they will.
Yeah, it's a game of hide the marble.
There you go, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you very much. Time now for the Capital Press Ag Minute, and it's brought to you by a wonderful lady. Now, you know what? She's about ready to probably have me tied to a whipping post, because I've got to get a hold of her today, and that's the lovely Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, she helped me with my hearing. And, she can help you with yours. Hearing loss is not normal, so please get a hold of her today for a hearing screening. 312-0957. Did you hear that? 312-0957. Call today, Mount Harrison Audiology. Right now, here is the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Oh, I guess they didn't send one over.
Oh, really? Well, that's a good way to tell me. I guess they didn't send one over. This is the first you knew of it?
I guess so, because it's usually always in.
Oh, my goodness.
It's Raul.
Do you mean to tell me that Raul Pena did not do his job?
No, sir.
Do you have a website or anything that you can contact and let them know how really happy I am that they didn't send it over?
Yes, I will figure that out.
Thank you, Wheels. I'm trying to keep my chin up and smile, but it's hard. He's gone. Okay.
I can agree with that.
All right. Hey, by the way, that wonderful Capital Press Ag Minute, it was so informative, was brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology, and that's Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. Behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, the number to call for an appointment is 312-0957. And protect your hearing and make sure that you're hearing everything. Make an appointment today. Mount Harrison Audiology, 312-0957. Well, that was fun. Anyway, let's go with more calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is for the College of Southern Idaho and all the liberals in the area that think it's so wonderful to bring in all the refugees. It's so wonderful to help them get housing. It's so wonderful to make sure that they have food and the staples of life and translators and everything. Oh, yes, it's so wonderful. Well, my concerns are coming to fruition. I don't care if it's Minneapolis, if it's Boston, Massachusetts, or now Boise, Idaho. If you read the paper today, third page headline says, trial starts in Idaho for Uzbek refugees terrorism charge. Please, let me read the first couple of paragraphs. A federal trial is underway this week for an Uzbek refugee charged with supporting a terrorist organization. Well, how can that be? How can that be? They're all thoroughly vetted, according to the College of Southern Idaho. And it goes on and says that this person, Fazlidin Kurbanov, and I probably made a mistake on the pronunciation of the name, was arrested in 2013 by federal authorities who said he was teaching people to build bombs to target public transportation and other targets. The wholesomeness of the refugee program, because this story has been exacerbated in Minneapolis. It's been exacerbated in New York and also Boston and other places. And we're not supposed to be concerned? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Keep your temper down. All is not lost. CSI is turning this city into a sanctuary city. I live here, and I see it every day.
Well, Tony...
our problems are just beginning.
They are. And I am putting together some really, I think, interesting segments next week with national people. Now, I want you to know that I was the first person ever to bring in on the radio Brigitte Gabriel, and Act for America has been on my program at least a half a dozen times. She's overseas. She's coming back home in about a week or so, and I am scheduling to have her on my program. We're going to talk about this problem with the refugees. We're going to talk about how this problem is growing in danger for America, and the naivete of CSI and others absolutely leaves me scratching my head.
Well, the tax situation is going to fall right on us. I paid our taxes here 2 weeks ago and went down and complained about it, and it is all the school system that's causing it. And we're going to get burned really bad with all these people coming in and thinking about closing up VA hospitals because we don't have enough money to take care of our troops, but they will have billions of dollars to take care of all these people that are flowing into this country to destroy it.
Isn't it lunacy? You know, in all seriousness right now, Tony, we are looking at a situation where, like the Bible has told us, right becomes wrong, wrong becomes right. We're living in an upside-down world for values, if we had any values anymore. And what you just said is such a mouthful. I mean, sanctuary cities for illegal aliens, and a wonderful young girl is shot and killed, and this Obama administration never speaks out on that, but they speak out on all the others, like Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. This world is nuts.
Oh, absolutely. And they're thinking about disarming the American people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah, I doubt seriously if Tony and Mary and Zeb and others are going to just capitulate to their whims and say, oh, here, take my little 22. I doubt it.
That's not going to happen because there's quite a few millions of us here in this state. I guess there's millions that will put up one heck of a fight.
Well, it's got to come to that. I mean, I'm going to take a lot of heat because I just agreed with something that might turn violent, but it's going to come to that because the American people, I believe, have just about had enough. And the percentages in large numbers of people that have been sleeping giants for a long time, they are, in very simple terminology, becoming teed off.
They are, and of course, Trump has been threatened by the drug deal there, and he's not going to take it.
Oh, my. The story just gets worse every morning. I mean, I've got a litany of things here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 stories here this morning about the idiocy that's going on. Tony, God bless you. I appreciate you, and I'll stand with you, my friend. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Zach.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, my friend. Good man right there. A very dear friend. Don't forget Minicash Sales at 1321 East Main in Burley. And later on this morning, Dr. History. Absolutely. We give them a lot of credit for what they do, bringing you Dr. History, Zach and the rest of the crew with all your lumber packages, Western windows, of course, all the Tartar Farm gates and panels. Oh, my. They've got it all. They can help you with all. Minicash Sales, 1321 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 878-2091. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this new law that they're trying to get passed, this Kate law.
Beg
your pardon?
I said Kate's Law.
Yes, Kate's Law. Do we need to get a hold of our senators and representatives about this? Is there anything we can do individually?
Look it up on the website, find out about it, channel where and who you need to call and talk to. I would say definitely it's a good idea to talk to our local representatives to see what they do or don't know about it. Anything and everything, all of the above. I think right now, Keith, regardless of the situation and regardless of the legislation, we need to let our legislators, starting from ground zero right here, all the way to the top, know how disgusted we are with what's going on in this country.
Yeah, you got it, brother. You know, the other thing is the Obama administration has swept this thing completely under the rug.
Yeah.
Not one call from the White House or the administration or anything. Not one thing is mentioned about this gal being murdered by someone who's been arrested for, what, 5, 6 times?
Yeah, had no business being in this country. Had no business being in this country. Had no business walking on the streets. Had no business with a weapon. Had no business being here. An illegal alien. I'm not going to mince the words. This man was trash and had no business being here. And this lovely young woman was shot at random for nothing. And this is absolutely ridiculous that the White House will not respond, Obama in person, and say anything about it. They'll step right to the microphone and demand investigations from the federal government over the Michael Brown killing in Ferguson, Missouri, which they finally said, oh yeah, the policeman was in his rights, but they never came out and said anything about this, and it sickens me.
I mean, another thing that bothers me is you never hear anything about this guy that did it, what they're going to do to him, what they've, I assume he's been arrested.
Yeah, and you know something, that's really a good point, Keith, because I think the follow-up, some reporter or group of reporters need to follow this and find out where he is, what's going on, what's happening, and not just shuttle him out of the country. I mean, this is a murder charge, and I hope they fry the guy. That's what my feelings are. I hope they fry the guy.
Well, what is a sanctuary city? I listen to the radio all the time. I watch TV, and I don't think I'm naive, but what is a sanctuary city?
I'll tell you what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be talking about that with Frosty Woolridge next hour. And I don't want to steal any of his thunder, so how about we wait until then? How's that?
Fair enough.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. Yeah, Frosty Woolridge is going to be coming on at 9:06 this morning. We're going to be talking about sanctuary cities and the idiocy. This is what it is, idiocy of providing these sanctuary cities. I just don't understand why in the world we're protecting people that are here illegally. We'll talk about that with Frosty. Hey, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office. And Nick Greenwell heads up all the physical therapists right there, and they have got a bunch of good ones that know all about all the sports medicine, all the exercises, have that hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. Oh, my goodness. You know what? I have just really been lax because of some problems and then also another little accident in getting back over there, and I've got to start hopefully in the next week or so. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2. They will help you get back to being you. Call for an appointment at 678-1191. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to go back just for a moment to the thoughts that Keith called in just a moment ago. It was not with a dry eye that I watched that interview last night with Kate Steinle's parents on television with O'Reilly. It was tough to watch a grieving mom and dad that had just had their daughter shot and killed by an illegal alien, as I said, that never should have been here in this country. And when O'Reilly, and I got to give O'Reilly credit, I thought he handled the interview with class and absolutely handled the interview with compassion. But the last words that the daughter said to her dad were, "Help me, Dad. Help me, Dad." I cannot imagine, as a father, holding your child, regardless of the age, and having that child, son or daughter, look up at you and say, "Help me, Dad." And when I think of the way this was so needless, like what happened on the East Coast with illegal aliens driving cars and killing people, and other illegal aliens that have been involved in murders and crimes and thefts and beatings. And I think of that beautiful young woman, Kate Steinle, 32 years of age, looking up at her dad on that pier in San Francisco and saying her last words, "Help me, Dad." All I can say, and for those that are offended by this, I don't care. All I can say to those that believe in sanctuary cities and the providing of shelter for illegal aliens, damn you. Time for the weather, and it's brought to you this hour by Mad River Laser. It is their anniversary, 1-year anniversary on the square, 8 years in business, and they're giving away an engraved barbecue set. 2, actually. All you have to do is stop in and sign up, and I believe you have till the 18th to get that taken care of, so stop in today at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Wonderful people. Believe me, all the caps, all the jackets, all the T-shirts, everything. They can engrave anything, and they do a beautiful job. They are the people that get it done right. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Here now, the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Morning thunderstorms, about a 40% chance, rain showers and clouds off and on throughout the day. Winds out of the west right around 6 miles an hour. Expect a high of 82. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82 with an overnight low of 54. Thursday and Friday, pretty much the same. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the low 80s. And then for Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, dropping down to about 76. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Very well done. Thank you very much, Mad River Laser. And, of course, don't forget all their stuffed animals, 50% off. T-shirts are 2 for $20. Your design. Hey, stop in. See Nicole at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I will not ever on this program apologize for things that I believe in or things that I go after and attack that I don't believe in. This country has adopted a liberal stance, just anything goes. Here, you're not working, we'll feed you. Here, you're illegal, come on in attitude. And I've had it. And Frosty Woldridge and others have been preaching about illegal aliens, have been preaching against the illegal immigration in this country, have been preaching about the open borders, have been preaching about how we're losing our sanity and our safety and our sovereignty. And it's about time to really put the cork back in the bottle and hammer it home. There are those that are really offended every time I come on the radio program and I say this, that, or the other. Oh, well, you said this, and I don't care. What's right is right and wrong is wrong. And this young girl's death in San Francisco absolutely is pathetically wrong by an illegal alien that should have never, ever been here. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, in another story that you just wonder what's going on and how naive people can be, the police captain, a Boston police captain, and God bless him and his family, what they're going through right now is absolutely horrendous. A Boston police captain had to call up and have his own son arrested. A Boston police captain found out that his son was tied to ISIS and tied to the studying of planning an attack on a local college campus. And when the police captain found out about it, he had to have his own son arrested. And at the jail medical screening, his son picked up a pen and stabbed a nurse in the head. What is happening in this country that we are so doggone naive we can't see the forest because there's one tree right in our way? There is a huge effort to absolutely stop, repel, and repeal anything this country stands for. The goodness is gone and the sleaze is running through the cracks. And God help that police captain and his family. He had to turn his own son in because his son had developed ties with ISIS and terrorism. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle, please. Don't forget Oakley Pioneer Days put on by the Oakley Vigilantes, and it starts tonight. Holy moly! And goes all the way through Saturday. 2 big nights tonight and tomorrow night of the 7th annual Bump and Rub 4-cylinder car race. Look out, it gets down and dirty. NASCAR could watch them. And the theme is turning our hearts to our fathers. And then tomorrow, I should say on Thursday, the Big Gymkhana at 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, the IMPRA Rodeo, fireworks, dancing, and during the day, basketball and volleyball tournaments and the Goose Creek Runoff, Chuck Wagon Breakfast. Holy cow. I mean, they've got a litany of things going on at Oakley Pioneer Days all the rest of this week starting tonight. Put on by the Oakley Vigilantes. Don't you miss it. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I really do want to hear your thoughts on this, whether you want to talk about the so-called nuclear deal with Iran. If you'd like to talk about the horrendous shooting of that young woman in San Francisco, or the CSI and others just being very naive about a refugee center here in Twin Falls, and all the things that go with it. We are in a changing society right now. Not for the better. I'll emphasize that. Not for the better. Some of the little notes in the emails. Well, times are a-changing, Mr. Bell. You're way behind the times. I don't think I am. And I got somebody calling in, and I can't take that call right now, but please call back later. I think I'm spot on with my feeling. I think it's spot on with the way things were or the way things ought to be. This lunacy of liberalism is tearing our red, white, and blue flag apart. And I ask you to stand with me in agreement, because we've got some real nutcases that are trying to take over America. I want to say thank you, and I'll take some more calls in just a minute. I want to say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and they've got the best doggone tire value promise in the industry. Yes, they do. Peace of mind tire protection, lifetime tire and mileage care. So you stop into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today. And by the way, they have some really, really popular passenger car and light truck tires on sale. For the light trucks, the Open Country HT. For the cars, they've got the Eclipse, all-season traction, and the Strategy tire, 60,000-mile warranty. You stop in and check out these tires today at any one of the 7 locations. And the best in brake service. Absolutely the best. And, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more with our friends and your friends, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Oberland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Calls are welcome. Come on, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Oh, I want to just say something real quick about sports. A little bit of a lighter note here real quick while I'm waiting for your call. Last night, it was highly enjoyable to watch the Home Run Derby for Major League Baseball. It was. They changed the format. They put it on a time clock. You had 4 4 minutes. You could take a timeout. And, I mean, these guys were swinging big-time home runs out of the park. And congratulations to Cincinnati Reds, Todd Frazier. He won the home run derby last night. And if anybody out there in Radioland watched it, you saw that it was just really a great contest now that they implemented the clock. And, man, I'll tell you what, some of those shots, home run shots last night, some very, very close to 500 feet. I mean, man, they were popping the ball out of that stadium last night. And some big-named athletes that were picked as the favorites, like Albert Pujols and others. Todd Frazier, hometown Cincinnati Red, won it last night, and it was fun to watch. Baseball, I think, is making a resurgence in this country. I've always loved baseball. I know a lot of you go, oh, I don't like it, it's boring. Well, you got to really study the game and understand the game and know the game to really appreciate what is going on other than the pitcher throwing the pitch and the hitter trying to hit it. There's a lot of things going on. And I think that the resurgence of baseball, I love baseball, is coming back. Next hour, we're going to be talking to Frosty Woolridge about exactly what we were mentioning in this hour with the sanctuary cities, the idiocy of the sanctuary cities. And then at 9:30, we're going to have Mr. Business, Dave Bigo, coming on our program. And then through the morning, we have a slight change for this morning and next week only. We are going to have Dr. History at 10:06 naturally. But the host of the program this morning will be my dear friend Gary Shoresman, filling in for Dr. Ken Turner. And Gary does a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to having him on the program. And then at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have Brady Manning, good old Cowboy Brady from Oakley Vigilantes, and he's going to come on the program and tell us everything we need to know about tonight's bump and rub car race and everything else going on at Oakley Pioneer Days. That's what's happening. And don't forget, Lunch Bunch this Thursday at Denny's Restaurant at 11:30. Everybody be there. I'll be back in 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Oh, my. Welcome back. Good morning. Zeb at the Ranch, Zeb Bell, and your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, our major sponsor, and we certainly appreciate all 7 locations. Stop into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today. Also, thanks to some of our great advertisers like Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley White Home and Ranch. And compliments of wheels over at the station. Here's a good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, they also have the Go Mini portable storage containers. Strong, weatherproof, providing superior protection against mold and mildew. These are really neat if you need some extra storage space. Contact Western Waste Services today and find out more information, 734-6969. Always at your disposal, locally owned and operated, Western Waste Services. You get a hold of them today. Also want to say thank you very much to our friends at Hanson Mortuary, and I mean that. Joel Heward, the manager, his family, his staff, everyone working for and serving you. They are there when you need them with very flexible hours, and they can come to you and help you with the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. Always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. So please, write the number down and call them, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, of course, with Joel Heward, the manager, and his very efficient staff. 436-5636. I want to go to the phone lines right now and say good morning to a very, very dear friend of mine, and Frosty Woolridge, how are you?
Good morning, Zeb, and good morning, everyone listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Certainly appreciate your weekly missives. You're one of the few folks out there that actually tells it like it is, with the passion and the energy and the confidence that you are standing up for America and for American families and the American way of life. So very much appreciated, and it's good to be with you this week.
Frosty, it's always an educational experience to visit with you. You know so much about what's going on with illegal alien immigration, and I'm going to be very poignant and very direct and call it what it is. Now, I'm going to break this down to you just a little bit, and then I want you to elaborate. Number one, the absolute heinous crime that was committed in San Francisco against a young woman, Kate Steinle, shooting her to death on a pier as she walked with her father, an illegal alien living in a sanctuary city, San Francisco. Now, my passion, my hatred for what's going on in this country with the sanctuary cities and the protection of illegal aliens, what I would like you to explain to my listeners, and I had a caller first hour call in with this, in your terminology, because you are so well versed in this, give us the kind of the description or the explanation of what sanctuary cities are, why they are, and why we're developing this kind of a liberal stand to go ahead and let these people here illegally.
This is a phenomenon that has occurred now for well over 25 to 30 years. They're called sanctuary cities. What happens is, in fact, the entire state of Colorado is a sanctuary state because both John Hickenlooper, who was formerly the mayor of Denver, Colorado, actually hired illegal aliens when he had his cricket restaurant. And then when he became the governor of Colorado, he has created a sanctuary state. That means, and let me back up on this, and you can check this out at centerforimmigrationstudies.org, and it says that there are 276 jurisdictions across the country that have sanctuary policies in place. And what that means is that the police are not allowed to arrest illegal aliens and discover their immigration status, and therefore they have a free pass. It's a sanctuary. They can't be deported. They can't be arrested. They can't be asked for their immigration status, and therefore they go there. And right now, it's amazing because U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions, along with Congressperson Gowdy, are pushing a bill for interior enforcement that would end all sanctuary cities once and for all. And the harsh reality is 63% of the cases of all the crime that's going on in these sanctuary cities it comes from illegal aliens with prior criminal histories, and in fact were deported. So what it is, in essence, is our own city councils, our mayors of our cities, like in Chicago, our own House of Representatives here in the U.S. Congress, both in the House and the Senate, are simply not enforcing the laws of the land. And she's not the only one that's been killed. We've had little children, 5 years old, killed at Baskin-Robbins here. We've had the police officer, Donnie Young, was shot by an illegal alien several years back in Denver. We've had illegal aliens who have been caught 5 and 6 and 7 times for drunken driving, finally kill 2 different individuals from another drunken driving accident, and they simply get off because these states, such as Denver, such as Los Angeles, such as San Francisco, New York City, Detroit, Michigan, you name it, certainly Miami, Florida, certainly in Houston, Texas, are sanctuary cities. Again, 276 jurisdictions across the country have sanctuary policies for illegal aliens.
Frosty, wait a minute. The obvious question that any listener of this program or any program, when we're listening to this topic, would sit there and ask, why? Why are we allowing illegals? Why are we allowing the illegality of these people to be here in our country? It's illegal. Why are we letting this happen?
because both the Democrats and the Republicans that are in power absolutely facilitate all of these things that are happening to our country right now. I just want you to know that right there in Idaho, your House representative is part of the 535 people that are in Washington, D.C. right now, along with your 2 senators in Idaho, are all supporting sanctuary policy. They are not supporting any enforcement of the laws on the books, and the laws on the books are it's illegal to employ an illegal alien. It costs $2,000 if you get caught, and up to 5 years in jail. Also, if you house one, you're a tenant or landlord, and you house an illegal alien, it's the same fine and the same consequences. And if you transport one. But none of these laws has been, essentially since 1986, none of these laws have been adjudicated, certainly enforced here in the United States, because, again, your 2 senators and your House of Representatives, and mine too. I mean, Udall and now Cory Gardner, they have not, and Bennett have not enforced the laws. This president, the last president, the last president, and the last president, none of them has enforced the immigration laws both at the border and or internally. And that is exactly why we have what we have right now.
And this is completely insane. I absolutely am fed up with the under-the-table attitude of these politicians. Oh, we'll look the other way. You know something, folks? The only way we're ever going to clean America back up to what it was, great and progressive as far as our thoughts and our ideals and our future for our kids, is we got to clean up Dodge City. And right now, I don't think there's a broom and a dustpan big enough. This is disgusting, Frosty.
Well, it truly is. And I want to bring to your attention, I work with a man named Don Collins, who's 83 years old in Washington, D.C., and he's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on. He's also a Democrat, and I respect this man highly because he writes intelligently. He wrote a piece for VDare that almost was a complete mirror of what I wrote, and if you want to, you can go to newswithviews.com today, and you'll see my picture of my face up there on the top. And I wrote a piece, and this piece is about celebrating President Donald Trump, a man for all Americans. And what has happened is Donald Trump is speaking out that he will build a wall across Mexico, and that he will negotiate free trade and fair trade that will benefit American workers. And for the first time in the last 20 years, we actually have somebody running for president who's actually telling it like it is. And he has now thrust himself into the number 1 spot for the Republican nomination. And the reason is because he is brash, he's bold, he speaks for American citizens. And let's face it, Donald Trump is another Teddy Roosevelt. And personally, as you read the article that I wrote, the reason that I am going to vote for him if he becomes the nominee is because we need an American in the White House. We don't need a Kenyan. We don't need a foreign-born. We don't need somebody that can't and doesn't know what they're doing. We don't need somebody who's sealed all the records, so he has literally, he's not telling the American people exactly what's going on. And so I'm excited that even Cruz and Jeb Bush have got to come up to the table, or they're going to get buried by one of the most dynamic Americans. And I don't care if you like him or don't like him. What I care about is he's actually talking about what's happening to American citizens and what he's going to do about it. And this discussion is way overdue. And so I hope you appreciate the piece I wrote at newswithviews.com.
Absolutely. Now, another related story to what you're just talking about, Frosty. The Mexican drug lord El Chapo. This is such a phony, absolutely ridiculously phony story about how he escaped from prison. The prison officials had to have known about that tunnel. They went right up to his shower. He's out of prison, and he allegedly has targeted now Donald Trump. I'd like you to elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, it goes to show you how corrupt both the Mexican government is and, of course, the American government. I mean, the corruption on both sides of the border of Mexico and America is profound. The reason for these drugs coming across our borders for the last 40 years has to do with every president who has served, the current president who is serving or disserving our country. We could have stopped all these drugs simply by putting our armed forces on the border, just like the DMZ in South Korea. Not one single North Korean has come across that border in the last 50-odd years. And the fact is, so many people are making so much money up in Washington, and so many people are making so much money down in Mexico that you better believe the payoffs are huge. And at some point in the history, some journalist who has the power and the money to really dig this thing in, it's going to catch a lot of people, U.S. senators and certainly House of Representatives in our Congress who got dirty hands and lots of greens grease in their palms, and that's why this is continuing, Zeb.
You know, and I want to say something about the Mexican leadership. They don't have any. They got a group of thugs and thieves in the Mexican leadership, and here's the bottom line. Right now, Senator Crapo and Senator Risch from the state of Idaho, put a bill together, stop the foreign aid of $3 billion to Mexico. Stop it. Don't pay them another dime. Clean up your act or it's over. What do you say to that?
Well, I would agree with that very much so. And both your senators, Crapo, need to sign on with Jeff Sessions, the senator, and Gowdy for interior enforcement legislation which would end sanctuary cities. It's the simplest thing to do. Pass an interior enforcement legislation. Well, just enforce this interior enforcement legislation right now that's on the books. These are already laws. And simply put them in gear. Force the president to actually do his job, because he is not doing his job. And thankfully, the one federal court stopped all of this amnesty because it's against the law. It's against our Constitution for a president to give any kind of executive order that subverts our laws. Let's face it, Barack Obama, if it wasn't for the crisis of the entire African Americans going on one giant Ferguson rampage, this president is very impeachable because he's broken the law, and he has broken the presidency with his lack of adjudicating and enforcing the laws of this nation. He's the executive branch, for heaven's sakes. So anyway, that's what's happening, and I would celebrate both senators and House from Idaho actually joining with Sessions and Gowdy to get this enforcement going on here in the interior of the United States.
Frosty, I got a quick call, and then I want to ask you another question. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
You know, any one of these fronts, whether or not it's immigration, Iran, the EPA, it's just endless. We're just surrounded. We got fronts on all sides, and then this deal with Iran, and you go down to the store and you look at people and you say, you want to see that in their eyes that they know that what's going on and they care, but they don't know what's going on, and they might care if they did. But you don't know that. And then you got the ones who are intentionally tearing the hell out of our country, and Obama and Valerie Jarrett and whoever the hell else. And you say, can we have a little hope? Can we have a little hope? I'll hang up.
You know, I hear the frustration in his voice because it's been in my voice every day for the last week or so, Frosty, when I look at the story of Kate Steinle. And I know there have been many, many Americans that have suffered the same dismal end by illegal aliens. But this case really got to me because she was walking on a pier with her father and just absolutely enjoying the beauty and serenity of San Francisco Bay. And an illegal alien that had been arrested so many times before, deported so many times before, just wantonly walked up and shot her. And my absolute hatred for what's going on in this country without recognizing and realizing the laws in this country were put in place to protect us American citizens, and they're doing everything they can to subvert those laws and help the people that are illegal. It's insane.
I want to address the caller and his frustration. I have a rage, a daily rage at the president of this country, and I hate to use his name because he's not the president of our country, but also all of the Congress. I mean, 535 critters up there in Congress are sitting there having, toasting wine and crumpets while we're paying for this horrendous invasion of our country, both legal immigration and illegal. And you're right. As I went through California on my bike ride just a month ago, nobody really cares. I mean, and here's the reality. Only about 10%, maybe 20% of Americans really care and are actually doing something. And again, go to the websites I always ask you to join for free. CAPS, CAPSWEB, capsweb.org, and numbersusa.org. Those two websites, and FAIR, FAIRUS.org, those three websites will empower you by the collective of almost 3 million people now. We could use 5 million, 10 million, and that's the key, because your singular frustrations are just like my singular frustrations. Where do you take them? What do you do? And the key is you've got to join these organizations in order to empower yourself, or we really are going to be going down the toilet faster than a bullet train. As I've said many times before, and in 2 of my books, America on the Brink, the next added 100 million Americans, folks, we're about to add 100 million legal immigrants into our country from all over the world that are going to turn this country into a giant Chicago and or a Detroit. Remember, over the 4th of July weekend, 82 gunfights. That's another 32 up from last year. There were 50 gunfights last year in Chicago, and I forget, 6 killings. This year, 82 gunfights in Chicago with 15 killings. And you realize that most of Chicago has 2 million illegal aliens in Chicago alone. It's turning into a third world country, and it's literally becoming non-American. And Luis Gutierrez, who is completely non-American but serves in the Congress, he's gunning to get sanctuary cities and gunning for more amnesties for all of the illegal aliens crossing over the border. He simply is a part of this onslaught of our country, and he's burrowed into our Congress. Well, the same thing has happened into the White House. We are literally having our country taken away from us by the very fact that we're not doing anything, and that you may have these frustrations, but how many people have joined numbersusa.org and capsweb.org and FAIR across the country? Well, only about 3 million out of 320 million.
Yeah.
So either we do something now, or everything and all of our lives and all of our children's lives will all become victims of this massive onslaught of America.
Frosty, 30 minutes is not long enough, and I apologize. I'd like to have you on for the duration of the show, but I'll just have to wait till next week. But God bless you and everything that you've said, everything that you've written about, and I'm honored to have you on this program because I am so frustrated. No, I'm not frustrated. I'm outright mad. I'm enraged at the idiocy that's leading this country.
Well, I'm with you, Zeb. This is an outrage against the Constitution. It's an outrage against every American citizen. It's an outrage against our flag. It's an outrage against the very state that each one of us lives in every city. When there's 276 cities in this country with a sanctuary policy, that is so against everything that we stand for as a nation of the rule of law, and we are breaking down so fast into a third world country. Again, adios, the left's plan for turning America into a third world hellhole by Ann Coulter is so dead on the money. Her book's even better than my book, and my book spells it like it is. Both my books spell it out. And so I'll be back next week with more information, but again, join the organizations and empower yourself, or I'm not kidding you, this country's not going to survive the 21st century as an intact civilization. and a common, cohesive country with a constitution, it's going to break down into a third world civilization. And none of us are going to like that, including all of these immigrants from all over the world, whether they're legal or illegal, Zeb.
Absolutely. Frosty, God's blessings to you. Thank you so much. And I'll look forward to next Tuesday. And take care and have a great week. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado. And what he said is right. Don't forget the Idaho Cattle Association annual convention and trade show. My goodness sakes, it starts today. There are cowboys, real cowboys, in Boise, Idaho today, I'll tell you. And there's so much going on with the Cattle Barons Bash, and they've got all kinds of meetings with great speakers. And a couple of days from now, the governor's going to lead a great big cattle drive right down Chinden Boulevard. Holy smokes, don't miss it. The Idaho Cattle Association Industry Convention and Trade Show celebrating 100 years. That's right, 100 years at the Riverside Hotel in Boise. Idaho Cattle Association, feeding the future. Also, I want to say thank you very much to a lot of the folks over in Oakley that are merchants in Oakley that are supporting Oakley Pioneer Days, and they include Clark's for Shopping. Harlow and the crew always appreciate your stopping up to Oakley and seeing what they've got in their hometown grocery store. Famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's Recipe. You can buy it either in bulk, patties, or links at Clark's for Shopping, 100 East Main Street in Oakley. And don't forget, our thanks also go out to our friends with Oakley Valley Stone, 204 Main Street in Oakley. Oakley Valley Stone wishing all the people that come up to the great big 128-year anniversary of Oakley Pioneer Days. And if you're looking for stone for a new fireplace, headstone for a loved one, landscaping boulders, look no further than Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main in Oakley. Last but not least, Searles, 106 North Center in Oakley. Gas, grub, and goodies. Store opens at 6 in the morning, stays open till 9 at night, and they've got those specialty buns that are baked fresh every day for their sandwiches. They are good, let me tell you. Searles, 106 North Center in Oakley. And everybody says come on up to Oakley this week for, of course, Oakley Pioneer Days. We're going to have our next guest with us in just a moment. Stand by. But first and foremost, I also want to remind you about our dear friends over at Let's Ride. Highway 24 in Rupert. My goodness. Well, actually, between Rupert and Hayburn. And they've got all the watercraft. Yep, fun in the sun, fun on the water. Whether it's on the river, whether it's on the lake or a big pond, they've got all the watercraft for you over at Let's Ride. This is where the fun is sold. And they've got a great selection. Just walk in the showroom and you'll see what I mean. Of all the 4x4s, the ATVs, holy smokes, you wonder how they crammed everything in there. And, of course, all the accessories and a fantastic service department. All of this at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. Yep, where the fun is sold. And while you're over on Highway 24, I want to remind you, too, about some really good friends of mine, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs and always accessible and devoted to helping you. So please write this number down. Give them a call for an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. Let's go to the phone lines right now and say good morning to a very, very good friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for his opinion. Indianapolis, Indiana entrepreneur Dave Bego. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing this morning?
I am fantastic, but I've got a lot of things I want to ask you about. First and foremost, Dave, we are looking at, I think, a complete sellout and a complete cop-out to our allies and especially our number one friend, that's Israel, in the Middle East, with this so-called Iranian nuclear deal as supposedly a legacy for the Obama administration. What are your thoughts about what took place yesterday?
Well, Zev, obviously we're going to find out more details as this thing gets rolled out. I saw the president speak this morning, and it was his normal rhetoric, and the talking points he wanted to sell his program. But I've already seen some things behind the scenes that make this look questionable, and my guess is we're going to find more and more as time goes along.
One of the things that I found questionable, and like you said, I haven't had a chance to read everything in its entirety, but there was one or two lines that I really question, and one was the United Nations inspectors can press for inspections. Press for inspections? I mean, my goodness, they have to phone ahead like they're going to make a room reservation at a Holiday Inn Express? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's right. And you know something, just the fact that it's going to be United Nations inspectors really bothers me, because I think we need to have our inspectors in there. I'm not sure we can trust what the United Nations tells us.
Well, there's no question about it, but here we go, Dave. I mean, everywhere we turn around, the arms deal with Iran. The whole world might be pressed into a nuclear arms race, especially in that region. And then here at home, the idiocy of sanctuary cities and illegal aliens with that devastating murder a week ago to that lovely young lady, Kate Steinle, on a pier in San Francisco. This Obama administration is absolutely tearing apart the fabric of the red, white, and blue of America, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Zeb, they are, and I've talked about this many times, that this president doesn't believe in this country. He doesn't love this country like he says he does. In fact, he, behind the scenes, is doing everything he can to destroy it. And Americans need to wake up, and wake up quick. Because in my mind, he's the great pretender. He pretends to be the great guy that loves America, but behind the scenes, he's the great destroyer.
Okay, so what can people do, Dave? What are people saying in Indianapolis? What are people saying that work for you? What are people saying at the country club? What are they saying? I mean, is it just lip service? Do they all go, oh, yeah, that's right, it's tough times right now, and then go out and do nothing about it? What's happening out there?
Well, the problem is, I think everybody looks at this and says, well, we'll get him out of office in the next election. The problem is what is he going to do in the next 16 months that could permanently destroy this country and bring it down? And that's what we got to get people to wake up to. And even when you talk to people, it's really hard. In their minds, they think that's an impossibility. And, in my mind, it's all about the economy and economic collapse. And if he can achieve that, we're in trouble.
But what are you hearing about candidates? What are you hearing about Hillary? God help us that queen will never take over the Oval Office. But what are you hearing about the Republicans? There's so much infighting right now. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I am very much supportive of Donald Trump because of his outspoken attitude, and he doesn't care whose toes he steps on. But the rest of the Republicans are trying to run him out of Dodge City. What's going on here?
Well, the Republicans don't have a backbone, and Donald Trump, I like a lot of things he has to say. I think he could do a better job in how he gets his word out, because I think it's a little too crass at times. The guy that I really like, Zev, and I've talked to you about this before, Scott Walker. He announced yesterday, and I actually wrote a blog on it last night that came out this morning. And one thing I like about Scott Walker, he has all the same viewpoints as Trump. He does a much better job of conveying it to the public without, irritating people and getting people on his side from all fabrics of the country, religious, ethnic, political viewpoint. He did that in Wisconsin in his first election, the recall election, and in the last election in 2014. And he was able to unite people from all these different areas. Because when you get in front of him, and I've met him personally, I've talked to him personally, and I've heard him speak, he really has a way about him that gets people together. That's one thing that Donald Trump doesn't have.
You might say that, though, my dear friend, and you might say that Donald Trump is irritating, and yes, you are correct. But he has opened the trap door in the basement floor that's opened up a Pandora's box of problems that the Republicans at darn sure start to address. Illegal alien immigration, sanctuary cities, open porous borders, and you got to give Trump credit for that. He's brought it to the forefront and made other people talk about it.
Oh, Zeb, there's no doubt, and don't get me wrong, I like Trump, but and he has, and Walker has done the same thing in Wisconsin, and he even fought the unions and beat them. He had some backbone on that, and the unions are declining in Wisconsin, and they were the ones that controlled the government, just like the unions control this current administration and the government we have now. And that's one thing I like about him is, he'll come out and he doesn't flinch when they come after him.
Well, I realize that, but not on the other side of the coin, and you know this is true, it's almost as if the media has accepted it as a slam dunk that Hillary Clinton will be not only the Democratic nominee, but will be the next president of the United States. What in the world can we do to stop this very serious tidal wave with the liberal left in this country? I think that will be the end of America as we know it if she takes over.
Yeah, Zeb, and I understand. I'm not sure she'll make it through all this, though, because more and more comes out about her, and the more you watch her talk, she's tripping all over herself. And the Republican Party, and whether it's Trump or Walker, I'd like to see a combined team of those two guys.
Wow.
If they would back them and get them out in front of people, these two guys would expose what's really going on the left, far left, and really expose Hillary Clinton. And, but we've got to get a Republican Party that has some backbone and people are willing to stand up and do this.
What about back there in Indiana? What about in the Midwest? Are you seeing anybody on the Republican ticket that is a senator or a congressman? Are you seeing anybody stand up and be fiery in their speeches and tell America to get involved? I mean, are they just laying back, doing their job, sitting in the foamy, cushy chair and not doing anything?
Well, that's the problem. Too many of them, they don't want to make waves. And it's like the borders and the Hispanic issue. And I've written blogs and said the same things that Trump has said, okay? And I wrote them a couple years ago. The problem is they're afraid to alienate the Hispanic vote. But the truth is, and there was a pastor that came out yesterday, and I'm trying to think where he's from. He's down south. That came out and said that Trump is right, and he was a little crass in how he said it, but Trump is right. Most Hispanics in this country are tired of their way of life being threatened by illegal immigrants that are coming across and hurting people, bringing guns across and taking jobs, lowering wages, and all that. And he says it's up to the Republican Party to understand this and embrace this and do it in a way that they get the Hispanic people on their side. And that's what they need to do.
Okay, so why isn't anybody else except Trump trying to do it? I mean, I know Scott Walker. I like Scott Walker. But, what about the party itself? Where is the backbone? What happened to these guys?
We elected people that don't have backbone, and that's the problem. And Scott Walker will come out the same way on this Hispanic thing. You wait, because he understands it. And but you've got people like Boehner and that up there in office that they just don't get it. They just want to go along and get along, and they don't want to make any waves. And somehow we as a constituency have to get these people fired up and get them to do the right thing. And your listeners need to go after your conservative Republican politicians out there and across the country and get them to understand we don't need another president candidate like Mitt Romney. Brilliant man, great businessman, but he wants to be a nice guy. You can't beat the left by being a nice guy. You have to go after them. You have to go on offense and put them on defense.
What's going on with the unions right now, Dave? SEIU, I noticed that the teachers union has come out and naturally endorsed Hillary. But what's going on with the unions? Anything under the table that you're worried about that you're hearing but we're not?
Well, I know they're supporting Hillary, and they're putting their money behind her. They're being kind of quiet right now, but you wait. They'll wait until we get closer to the when the election really starts heating up. They'll wait till November or so. But they're behind them, and they're also out there fighting for a national right to work law be thrown out, which the National Right to Work Committee is pushing right now. The National Labor Relations Board, I don't know if you saw it, I'm going to write a blog on this too, but they've basically come out and said that everybody should be unionized and the ends justify the means. And that means that the president and the Democratic Party can do anything they want to unionize people.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much of a push is there for that kind of concept and that kind of thought? I mean, you've been through it with the SEIU. You fought them and you won, but here it comes again. This two-headed snake is coming back at us again. How serious are their threats with this administration?
Well, it's very serious because this administration is behind them, and so is the far left, because that's where they get their biggest percentage of campaign money, and also they get their foot soldiers out there on the ground to get these people elected. And Hillary's even talked about that. She came out, I believe, yesterday in favor of the unions and said that we need to support the unions and more people need to be unionized because that's all about social justice and fairness. And that's not what it's about. It's all about the money trail, and people need to wake up and understand that.
You know, I was really impressed. We were talking about candidates a minute ago, and I've got to be fair and say this, that there's another Republican candidate that is showing a lot of moxie, and that's Carly Fiorina. She came right out in an interview with Megyn Kelly the other night and said that Hillary had blood on her hands regarding Benghazi. So there is a Republican, there is another candidate that has the backbone to speak up.
Oh, yeah, she does, and I think there's another one, too. I think Ben Carson does. Mm-hmm. He just does it in a much more subtle way. But if you read some of the things that he writes and hear him talk about things, he understands all this stuff, too, and he's on board. And we need some combination of those candidates running for office that will speak up.
What about this deal with Mexico, Dave? I want to talk just a little bit about that in the time remaining. I got about 4 minutes left. But I have said for a long time on this program, and finally some others are starting to speak up about it too. I mean, we're looking at a leadership, if you want to call it, of Mexico that's nothing but a group of thugs and thieves. Let's cut off the foreign aid. We give them $3 billion. Let's cut it off and have them clean up their act. What do you think?
Absolutely. Again, you know, as I said, I've written blogs in the past, and I've advocated these things, and that we need to seal the borders, put our military on the border, because they'll seal it, trust me. And we'll fix the problems we have, and we'll get rid of the drug running and the gun running and all that kind of stuff. And with these borders open, you know, people aren't talking about how many people with ISIS are coming across those borders that could be a real problem for this country in the near future.
What do we do about security, Dave? I mean, I've talked and preached on this program. I'm absolutely against the refugee programs because there is no way that they are vetted. They have no clue as to who these people are. I think the American public is being duped into letting them in their hometowns and their places of business, etc., and we're really not sure who they are. The screening process has failed, and according to Representative Mike McCall of Texas, it's far below where it should be. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree, and that's all because this administration thinks that we should have open borders and that we should share the wealth. It goes back to this social justice concept, and you know, even the Pope is coming out on that. I don't know if you saw, he was down in Argentina talking about this stuff, you know, we've got so many world leaders that think that we need to be a one world government and we need to have everybody the same, and we need to redistribute the wealth. And they don't understand that for people to get ahead and for the world to move ahead, we need a free market system that allows people to go out and invent and build things to make this country great and the world greater.
All right, now, Dave, you're a businessman, very successful businessman, and a great writer and blogger, and you've done everything very, very tastefully. What about America? Can we restore the values? Somebody asked me over the 4th of July weekend, are we so far in the hole that we can't climb out? We've got politicians that with no backbone. We've got politicians that don't honor the Constitution. Is America absolutely with its boot heels on the edge of the cliff, or can we turn this thing around?
Well, Zeb, I think we are, but I think we can turn it around if we get the right people elected. But in the interim, we've got to put the clamps on the president and stop all these programs he's got going. And that's why I keep telling people in Congress that I write to and talk to that you need to go on the offense and you need to put this administration on the defense. You know, you need to go out and file charges against this guy for abusing his power, impeach him, whatever, put things in front of him that he has to struggle with in front of the American people, you know, eliminate some of his laws like amnesty, try to appeal Obamacare, all those things that will keep him busy instead of him going out and keeping them busy by passing new executive orders, trying to get the National Labor Relations Board to force unionized people and all of this kind of stuff. They've got to reverse the trend.
Absolutely. On a lighter note, to wrap things up, did you see the Home Run Derby last night?
No, I didn't, Zeb. I had a long day yesterday, and I got home and started writing my blog on Scott Walker, so I did not get to see that.
Well, I will look forward to reading that blog. Dave Bego, of course, author of The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep. And Dave, tell us a little bit quickly, how can people get your blog? Give us the website so they can pick that up.
Well, they can go to thedevilatourdoorstep.com, and they can read the blog there. They can get my book there, and you know, more and more people are reading the book, Zeb. I got a letter from a CEO here in Indianapolis who read my book, and it helped him in his fight against the Teamsters Union. And in his letter, he says, your book is a great book, and every business person in this country should read your book.
Absolutely. Dave, I always appreciate and respect the fact that you take time out of your busy day to come on our program. God bless you, and we'll talk to you at the regularly scheduled time next week on Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and have a great weekend out there. And send some sunshine this way.
All right, Dave Bego, thank you so much. Indianapolis, Indiana, the author of The Devil at My Doorstep and The Devil at Our Doorstep. A very, very nice man. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like to hear your opinion, but right now I got to get the weather in. You can call during the weather. Duck Uglies brings you the weather at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Number to call, 878-3825. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Delicious meals. Oh, wow. I love that Friday night special, the ribeye steak. Oh, it's good with 4 shrimp, baked potato, Texas toast. And then on Saturday nights, the delicious, mouth-watering ribs with Omar, the Chef Boyardee. It's great. And then don't forget all the entertainment at Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And right now, here is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Morning thunderstorms, about a 40% chance, rain showers and clouds off and on throughout the day. Winds out of the west right around 6 miles an hour. Expect a high of 82. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82 with an overnight low of 54. Thursday and Friday, pretty much the same. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the low 80s. And then for Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, dropping down to about 76. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And right now, again, the weather brought to you by Duck Uglies at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. I love the food. I love the entertainment at Duck Uglies. You're going to like it, too. Let's get some calls in here. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'd like to hear your opinion on this. While I'm waiting for your call, I also want to remind you again, Oakley Pioneer Days, holy buckets, the Oakley Vigilantes are going to start things off tonight. Oh my, with the 4-cylinder car race, the 7th annual Bump and Rub. It gets wild. It gets nasty. It gets dirty. It's a lot of fun over in Oakley, so plan on being there tonight and tomorrow night for the car race, Thursday night Gymkhana, Friday and Saturday, of course, the IMPRA rodeo, fireworks, dancing, my goodness, all kinds of fun, and the theme this year, turning our hearts to our fathers. Lots of good fun up in Oakley, and we're going to be talking to Brady Manning here in about another hour, so he'll tell us more about Oakley Vigilantes presenting Oakley Pioneer Days, starting today up in Oakley. I'm just going to get this guy on early. He's a really dear friend of mine, and I appreciate it. Gary, get that real close to you. Gary Shoresman. Gary, in all seriousness, I'm going to ask you this. We have a quick call. We'll take it, and then I want to ask you a question before the news. Caller, go ahead real fast.
I just want to comment on what you had to say with your friend out of Wisconsin. I watched Governor... what's his name from there? Anyway,
Governor Walker.
He is fantastic.
Yeah.
He is not afraid. And I think that he and Trump would make a great team.
You know, you may be right on that, Chris. I doubt seriously if it's going to end up that way, but boy, the power, the thought process, the slamming the fist down on the table and saying we're going to observe and realize our laws, I agree with you. I'd love to see that ticket. I think it would be a powerhouse ticket, and boy, would Hillary ever run for the closet and hide.
She wouldn't have a chance, would she?
God bless you for your thoughts. Thank you.
I'll listen to whatever else is going on.
I appreciate it. Caller, quickly, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Two real quick things. Whenever you have a group of animals that called things like a group of lions called pride, a group of baboons is called a congress. And I think that's fitting for our situation, too.
Amen, brother. If I was up on the hill, I'd hold my hands to the heavens and say, brother, you got it right. You are now baptized. Thank you so much. God bless you. Gary Shoresman, we have seen, and this has nothing to do with the segment that we're going to have in a few minutes, as you're going to be taking care of Dr. History for Dr. Turner this week. But when you listened this morning to the potentiality of the Iranian nuclear deal with the Obama administration working supposedly with the Iranian leaders, and it sounds to me like it's going to fall apart at the seams when they had little clauses in there like UN inspectors can press for inspections. This to me sounds like they gave the kid the candy and he didn't pay for it.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You mess with a bull, you're going to get the horn. And when have you ever seen a leopard change its spots?
Amen. And that's what Iran is. They're playing us. They're playing the world right now.
Yes.
And why can't the American people, and especially our senators and congressmen, thumbs up, thumbs down vote on this issue? But Obama already threatened them this morning and said that doesn't make any difference. He'll veto it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've become so politically correct that we don't know the difference anymore.
Define what you mean there.
Well, it's just like President Obama has defined what he wants and the way it's going to go. And the most important part that I ever heard from President Obama was when he was elected and said, we are fundamentally going to change America.
Right.
No one heard that. And Mrs. Obama said that was the first time she'd ever been proud of America. Well, this is all what's going to follow. And, of course, back in the 60s, everybody headed for San Francisco, and Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn and the Weather Underground, hating America, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They didn't care which way the water was going. And now when anybody wants to try to find the baby, they don't know which way to look.
Amen.
So it's people like you and people that you had on this morning that are telling it like it is. And unfortunately, like we've talked before about the Bolshevik Revolution and all this kind of thing, the people that supported Lenin and take from the rich and give to the poor were eventually sent to Siberia anyway.
Yep. We're in trouble.
So that's what they're going to get, and we're going to be thrown under the bus.
We are in trouble, yes, and I think the driver, if you look through the window, is Obama himself. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. News is next from ABC, then Dr. History, this week featuring Mr. Gary Shorsman. Stand by in 6 minutes. Oh my, here we go. Last hour, a little bit cloudy outside today. I see some patches of sunshine. Enjoy your day. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. And, of course, Valley-wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley-wide Home and Ranch. Hey, by the way, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Today, the special is chicken teriyaki served over white rice with veggies and super salad. You're going to love it. Chicken teriyaki at the Chadwick Sports Grill, along with all the great menu choices and the daily specials. Super nice people working there serving you. The Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. By the way, today's the big day, the start of the Oakley Pioneer Days. And don't forget, a lot of the merchants up there say, come on down to Oakley, including Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, and a rancher in the Oakley area, invites everybody to come on down to the best celebration in the state of Idaho, the Oakley Pioneer Days, today through Saturday. There is going to be something there for everyone. Thank you, Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke. And don't forget, too, Smith's Cafe in Oakley, 135 East Main in Oakley, open Monday through Saturday, 6:30 to 1 p.m., Sundays until 11. And don't forget, on this coming Saturday, they're going to have a great big Dutch oven dinner from 4 p.m. until the food runs out at Smith's Cafe in Oakley. It is time for Dr. History, and Dr. History is brought to you by Minnecasia Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport with Zach and the whole crew. We're going to tell you more about them in a moment, but right now, filling in and doing a fine job, I'm sure, is Mr. Gary Shorsman for Dr. History. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
What in the world are we going to talk about today?
Well, I've been working right into the, I think it's the 98th annual Old Settlers Dinner program that's going to be held in September. And so I ran into a couple old cowboys last year, and they were in south of the river in the Malta, all the way through the mountains, right up to Muldoon, down to Jawbridge and all of that kind of thing, droving cattle.
Really?
And so I thought, well, that'd be a great program, but I found then that I can't do much of that unless I know about the communities and the areas when they all started and how they began. So I call this, it's just going to be an overview of our complete history of southern Idaho, and primarily the Raft River area and the Snake River area up to Minidoka County.
Why was that area, Gary, out there at Raft River, why was it so conducive to be settled basically for cow country, first and foremost here in the valley, more so than other areas?
Well, a couple of people, first off, the Mormons were the first ones to enter into that area, but long after Sublette and the Hudspeth Cutoff and the Oregon Trail, California Trail came through. But here was a Raft River that come from way down behind, down by Yost, down on the border, works its way all the way through it, and it was a river to be reckoned with because you just didn't pull a wagon through it with your horses. You had to make sure you were fording in the right spot. Well, today it's barely a drain ditch is what it is, or a canal now. So
and what happened to the river itself? What was the changing factor of that water?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the thing is. Probably lack of rainfall and snowfall.
I see.
Down in those tributaries to bring it in. And it's Cassia Creek came through the cutoff where Connor Creek is, and that area down right into Malta, and then, of course, dumped into the Raft River. But they just don't have the water sources that they used to. But before anything was partitioned off, it was a meadow out there. There was swampland, there was willows, there was grass, there was just huge, beautiful area down in there, and very much like even where Declo is, and the freeway goes through, that was all swampland and marshland, and you had to be careful how you went, but it's all been drained out, and now down in that country is all run by sprinkler, and the farms are fabulous and wonderful, but some of the old 1870 log cabins are still there, tucked away in the trees.
Really?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Only if they could talk.
Yep.
Wow.
A lady by the name of Ada Park was married to Glenn Park, and her father-in-law was Ether Park, who was born in 1875. But his father was one of the first people that came in. I think there was 4 Park brothers, and their descendants are still in Malta. Another group is in Albion, and another group is in Declo, so Park with an E on it. So they're all the same bunch. But on their property, they have the home that was built in the old log cabin, 1871, 1872. 1908, it was moved from there down south, a mile south of Malta, on the place that she still lives on.
Really?
Now, another famous family up there is called the Hitt family, and they are on that original Park homestead that's just right out of the mouth before the 2 roads cut up go into Connor Creek and over into City of Rocks or Albion.
What kind of, and I know I'm getting off track here a little bit, but when you talk about these old cabins, talk a little bit about the cabins themselves. What kind of amenities or not were in those cabins?
1 room. If you had 2, it was really good. It was probably partitioned off, but when you look at them, they use those old broad axes where they look like something out of the Knights of the frontier, so to speak. But they came down and they were flat on one side and then curved in on the other side. So they're absolutely perfect for rounding off trees. And oftentimes you see railroad ties that are rounded and curved off really nice. Well, that's those broad axes that they used, and then that's how they chipped the trees. Of course, they had to cut the trees down. Then they had to fit them together, and then you had to chink in whatever you had, mud, hide, or hair, or whatever, to close up the walls.
So basically 1 room, and I'm assuming a dirt floor.
Sometimes. If they had it, they could saw it out, and they could put a plank floor in.
And it wasn't exactly the Ponderosa with Bonanza, was it?
Not at all. Not at all. So it's very interesting, and we happened to drive by the old Pierce Ranch, which is part of the Pierce family that came in with the Sweetser Burroughs, and then became Sweetser Pierce, and then the Pierces bought the Sweetser Ranch, and then their place, they're tucked behind, is a little old log cabin yet, which I still have to ferret out and see if that's one of the original ones, which it has to be.
When it comes to living in those cabins and trying to raise a family and trying to have enough wood, trying to have enough water, I mean, everything had to be a daily chore, wasn't it?
Had to be hauled.
Yeah.
Had to be hauled.
Wow.
They relied on, well, number 1, their cattle. Number 2, a woman always had a starter of yeast. So no matter where they went, they always had bread. They built a fire and they could make it. But those people knew how to survive. They knew herbs. They knew what to do with the first thing they did is get a garden started, get water to it, get this and that and whatever. But a lot of times they brought some supplies with them. Of course, they butchered. They had their cows, and then always somebody had a chicken along and to raise those, so you had some eggs.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, but they got them.
But living out here in this country in 1871 and trying to run a cow herd and manage a family, and there wasn't a doctor or a Quick Meds right around the street, was there?
Not at all.
Wow.
And you got to remember these people also relied on, they knew how to doctor each other. Today we laugh when we hear the word poultice or this or that, but mixed with mud and manure and onions and put it on your chest, and sure enough, you lived.
It's true.
It's beyond me. And now, we have this outrageous health care thing that we have that can't survive without 40 pills, and let alone you have to sell the farm and 3 cows to afford the pills today. But these people were hardy. They were looking for a new home. They were looking for a place to raise their families. So it was part of the deal, and they were happy about it. And number 1, they were Christian. And so they believed believed in God, and the sun would always shine on their doorstep when things got tough, and they'd just harden it out and go for it. But neighbors helped each other.
That's the point I was going to get at. Tip your mic up just a little bit there, Gary, if you would. Yeah. The social attributes of, hey, Bernie needs help, I'll be over there tomorrow morning, and we'll brand his cows, and then we'll come back over, and maybe Bernie needs to repair his house, he had a little fire or something. There seems to be more camaraderie in the old days.
Well, what they did was they put their cattle together. So like this one picture I have that I got from Mrs. Park, 1917, shows a whole 25 lineup of those settlers out there, and each one of them settlers, I should say ranchers, they represent a ranch.
Right.
And they put their cattle together, they branded them, castrated them, did whatever they were going to do, and took them out to the range, and then they were drovers, and then they got together and separated and brought them back home.
Where did they run primarily? I mean, how big an area out there did they run their cattle on?
Oh, long ways. They would go all the way over to past over to Soda Springs,
which
is where
goodness.
Is where the Hudspeth cutoff came through down into Oregon Trail. They sometimes shipped out of American Falls, but see, they didn't ship out of there until the railroad came in 1881.
Yeah.
So prior to that, they would have shipped their cattle, drove them all the way down to Kelton, Utah.
Wow. All the way over to Soda Springs.
That's where a lot of them went. They didn't necessarily go across the river, but they were way down Point of the Mountain over into the Albion Valley, all the way up to the river by Declo. That was all wide open range. There was no freeway. There was no road. There were Indian trails.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much it. And when you look at that, there was no Rupert. There was no Minidoka Dam. There was no Burley. None of this happened until 1904. So we're looking 25 years before anything even happened. And the Oregon Trail was the main line, and the California Trail cut off right there. So here they are, and can you imagine these travelers on the trail moving west to Oregon or California, and hey, gee, here these people are out here.
Do you think that Idaho in this area has ever reached the accolades that they should have as far as the cattle business is concerned, like the Texas and the Oklahoma areas? This was a big cattle producing area.
Mm-hmm. Still is.
Yeah.
For instance, the Andrew Sweetser came from San Francisco. His son Lou, that we always hear about with the Sweetser Burroughs, the brothers that he went to college with.
Right.
He was born in 1871 in San Francisco. Now, his father and the Sweetser Shirley Company came in 1869. But they were huge cattle ranches. Now, if you've ever seen between Sacramento and San Rafael, going over to San Francisco, there's a place called Vacaville.
Yes.
Vacaville means cow. Mm-hmm. And there are pictures of huge, thousands and thousands heads of longhorn cattle in that Sacramento Valley that was all grassland, no roads, nothing. Sutter Fork was in Sacramento. So they bring their cattle up, and they settle south of the Raft River. And then the family comes out in 1871. Well, they do so well that young Lou Sweetser in 1886 is able to be sent to Yale University.
Really?
Right out of Raft River.
Wow.
And he gets well educated, and it goes on, has a great political career, but he made a couple of friends, the Burroughs brothers, who were from Chicago, and their father owned the American Battery Company.
Oh, really?
So here they were, wealthy, really at the cutting edge of technology, and then they all go to Yale together, become fast friends. Well, Lou comes back out here and ranches with his father. The Burroughs boys go back to Chicago, but they become allergic to the battery acid that they were using, and it hurt their lungs, so they came out and joined Lou at Yale. So they wanted to start their own little business, so they bought two 320-acre farms from the Sweetser Pierce Ranch, and then applied for a post office, and they called it Yale.
Oh, my goodness.
And, of course, it didn't last long, but then they went on. They needed more money. Now, 1888 and 87, this time 1890, there was a huge drought. So they just weren't able to survive with their cattle. So that's when they decided to do this gold dredging thing on the Snake River, beginning at Raft River.
I got to jump in and do a good word. It's amazing how lives and different family names were all intertwined. Sweetser and the Burrows, etc. Stand by just a moment. Dr. History is brought to you by Minnecash Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Old Zach and the rest of the crew with all your lumber packages, all your shingles. They've got everything, and you can replace and upgrade your windows with the Western windows and save on heating and cooling bills. And don't forget, too, they've got all the quality carpet. They've got everything, including the Tartar Farm and Ranch gates and panels. Everything right there for you. And we really appreciate Minnecash Sales sponsoring Dr. History, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Give them a call at 878-2091. Gary, I should say right away that we're going to continue this story about that area and the cattle business into next week. So pick it up from there with the Burrows and the Sweetsers and other families that lived out in that Raft River area.
Okay, the people, it's ironic enough with this photograph that I have that was taken in 1970, and it's called out there in Hegler Lane near the Raft River. You find people that is like the name of the Ole Anderson, the Stewarts, the Kings, the Kosman family, the Taylors, Powers, Lounsbury, which we then find in Minidoka later on. The Hitt family, Pierce, Cottle, Rice, the Parks, Marshall, Hutchison. I'm sure I've left somebody out. But here are all these guys out here, and they are, and even Henry Shoddy, Frank Shoddy, the son of old Henry Shoddy. Now, see, that's 1875. He comes to the north side of the river. But these people were all out here, a lot of these people that were in the Albion, Malta area were all Civil War veterans. After the Civil War was over with, a lot of them came to Albion and Malta area.
What was and you bring up a good point there about the Civil War. Were most of them fighting for one side or the other? Was it mostly the North, or was it a lot of cases the Confederacy?
I didn't find any Confederates. Well, there were a couple, and I just don't have it at my fingertips. But I do know that there were from Michigan, Kentucky, Illinois. There were one that I found was on Sherman's March to Sea. There was a couple that were in the Black Hawk Indian War in southern Utah, and from the Spanish-American War.
I see.
So those old veterans came out here and for new land and a new life.
Okay, but you bring up an interesting point, because we think of the cattle business and we think of the American cowboy and we think of everything that they stood for, the chaps, the spurs, and the horses and everything, coming up from the Southwest, Texas on the cattle drives, Oklahoma, even Kansas. But now you're talking Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota area.
Easterners.
It must have been quite an adaptation to come into this country.
It was quite an adaptation to see what had happened to their country after the Civil War back there, because there was lots of hatred between the North and the South, and it's just like we're going today with the Confederate flag. The South is going to rise again in a lot of that. There was a lot of people that did not want to live in that, and they came out here to create a new life. Or maybe their homes were destroyed.
When they came out here, Gary, and you of anybody would know the answer to this, but I mean, just to get in a wagon or handcart or a horseback, whatever, and come out here and basically set up a ranch and say, well, we're going to go in the cattle business. I mean, what about the amenities of where to go get supplies, where to do this, how to do this? I mean, how did they get all this learned?
Well, there's common sense. They didn't just all of a sudden just fall off the turnip truck.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a way of life for a lot of these people. It's like when you think about sheep herders, you don't think about them having to take care of the ones that died and the sheep, and you don't think about what happens if the mother dies and you got to feed bum lambs. But you also got to remember is that if they didn't have water heaters, you had to chop ice and get the water to those sheep and haul it to them along with the hay. But also they had kerosene lanterns, and they had to be filled in, glass had to be cleaned every day. So there's all these little things that went on, and yet they all had to eat. The horses, the sheep, and the cowboys. Also, like Hardy Sears is a good example. He's on the Oregon Trail. He's going to the west, gets to Albion area, and stays.
Really?
And then he decides to go up when the normal college or the railroad has now come through, and he goes to Minidoka and buys the old hotel in 1894, two-room place up there. And then
it was a hotel, 2 rooms?
Yep, from our old man Bartholomew, because now the Albion Normal School had opened in 1893, so there was a great amount of people coming to Minidoka because now it was closer than Kelton, Utah to get to the school. It was only 35 miles versus 100. So he bought the stage right and the mail right for Minidoka, came down south right below the present-day rapids at Minidoka Dam, crossed the old Story Ferry, and then came on down to Albion. But the road that we get into Albion today didn't happen until 1931, 1937. They always came down east of Declo and in behind where the Skaggs and Woods ranches are now, and in the back way through that little Albion Valley that you don't pay any attention to.
Is that road or trail still there?
It's still, part of it is still there, but it's all private property now.
Really? So that was the original way to get up on the hill?
Yep. You would say, for instance, if you came from Connor Creek, you didn't head all the way into Albion like that. You stayed to the east. That brought that hill down and worked your way down through because that was all marshland.
Right.
And then you got on down around to by the point of the mountain and then came straight on east into the Declo area.
You know, Gary, I'm almost out of time. I got about a minute and a half left. But you and Dr. History Ken Turner and others, I wonder if the general public, our schools, our teachers, our students, if they really appreciate and understand the valued history that's right here in this area.
Just have to get out and go see it.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the guys that we're going to be featuring, he's 81 years old, and Bob Tyler, by the way, he hadn't been down to Connor Creek for a long time and went to see where the junction is and where that trail cuts off. One goes right into Malton and the other one struts down, which is the old California Trail. So even at that age, been growing up here, they went down and refreshed their memories. But people get out and see, and I've got a cousin's husband knew that his family came from Stanrod down by Black Pine. Had never been there, but didn't really know that place existed, and went down. And so here, this many years later, we're still rediscovering where we came from.
One final question here. I got a minute left, Gary. On all the old trails and all the old heavily traveled trails and byways, how many of them have just been forgotten about and might still be visible if you get out in certain areas?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you get off the freeway and go see where the Oregon Trail is.
Yeah.
I could, if I hadn't turned left on the freeway over here, the old Highway 30, I could have gone to the wagon train. Well, I was on it. Highway 30 was the Oregon Trail.
Right.
But there's lots of trails around. There's more than you'd ever think, and there's more California trails even on the north, or Oregon trails on the north side of the Snake River. Everybody was looking for a cutoff.
Really?
Or shortcuts here and there.
You know, I hate to cut you short on this because it's so fascinating to me, especially the cattle business and cowboys here in the state of Idaho and everything. Quickly, give us a 30-second interview as to what's going to happen next week on the program.
Well, I haven't got to 1805 yet, so I'm going to do a little history through that. But there was one story that we find out that in 1862, there was Massacre Rocks was over by American Falls, was a pretty popular place to be ambushed with the wagon train and this and that. But 1862, there's a story that it turns out that it wasn't Indians, it was white men that were dressed as Indians and did a coup and a raid. So
really,
there were scoundrels everywhere then and whatever. So there'd be more stories.
Well, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it. Gary Shoresman filling in for a couple of weeks and always does a great job, and we appreciate him. And of course, don't forget that Dr. History is brought to you by Minicash Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Stop in and see Zach and the crew today. We're going to take about a 3-minute break, and then I'll be back with Brady Manning of the Oakley Vigilantes for the Oakley Pioneer Days. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. We're going to have Brady Manning on the phone in just a moment. Stand by. But first of all, on Thursdays, we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and we want to say thank you to both of those sponsors. First off, Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got everything for the toddlers, the babies, the wee ones, all kinds of games. They've got for the ladies summer dresses and a lot of the play clothes for the youngsters. You stop in and check it out. And a lot of the games to keep the kids active in the back seat of the car while you're taking a little summer vacation. All of this at a Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. And the number to call for outpatient surgery procedures like colonoscopies, carpal tunnel hand surgery, arthroscopic knee surgery, 677-8888. They can save you money. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. Hey, don't forget also on Thursdays at 10:32, Vicky's Country Garden with the show called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. I'm not a very good gardener, but I'm learning. And Vicky's Country Garden has everything for your garden and also all your landscaping needs too. All the rock and the soil aid, the chemicals, the bark, everything at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Let's go to the phone line and say hello to the old cowboy. Brady Manning, how are you?
Sir?
Yes, sir.
It goes straight to his voicemail. I was just gonna email you and Dan. Would you have a backup?
I do not have a backup, but keep trying that number. He is supposed to be available for us, so you just keep dialing, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. In that case, calls are welcome at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And believe me, I'd welcome your phone call. So give me a jingle right now at those numbers, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Okay, so we don't have a guest for this segment, so we're going to open it up to you to discuss anything you want to talk about, and of the subjects that we've had on already this morning or anything else that you would like to visit about. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Anybody up in Oakley that knows Brady Manning, you get a hold of him by the ear and grab him in the phone and have him give us a call or something, if you would, please. I'd appreciate it. And like I said, we'd like to hear from you, so give us a jingle. A couple of subjects that I would like to talk about. And here's our call. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Yes, sir, go ahead, or ma'am.
Zeb, that was a good show by Gary Shores.
It was a good show.
And a lot of those people are still out there, and they're deep-rooted in the Malta area, and they're really neat people.
You know, Bob, I know that you and I both have cowboyed out in that area, and you know a lot more about it than I do, but I mean a lot of the history and the family ancestry and really going through some really hard times out there. It's really some good historical stories out in that neck of the woods.
There's some people out there that tell you lots of things, but Gary Shoresman did an excellent job.
Well, I know he's listening on his way back over to Rupert, and he's going to have a continuation of that story again next week on Tuesday. So tune in and take a listen to the second half.
It's a breath of fresh air after what Obama has got done or hasn't got done.
Anything is a breath of fresh air after Obama and anything of his ilk. Thank you, Bob.
He can make you sick in a hurry. We'll see you. Goodbye.
All right, take care. Thank you very much. Yeah, Gary did an excellent job of filling in, and we appreciate him. Gary Shoresman on Dr. History. And again, Dr. Ken Turner, the host of Dr. History, will be gone next week, and so we're going to have a continuation of what we were talking about here this morning. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. 458-7. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. The Boy Scouts Executive Committee okays ending the ban on gay leadership. I don't know what to say. I think the Boy Scouts, and I'm just stating my own opinion, I think they have capitulated. I think they've stuck their tail between their legs and run away. I think they have lost standing up for moral value, and I absolutely criticize them for taking this stand. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good question.
Good morning. Talk to me, caller. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes.
I don't get a chance to listen to you very often, but I really do appreciate everything that you do, and you do very good. But I was wondering if I had missed this, or if I'm just getting old and I can't remember, but this is what I remember, is when the Clintons left the White House, they literally tore the White House apart. They pulled telephone wires out of the out and everything. And am I dreaming, or is this true?
No,
I'll listen to you on the
I appreciate your comments, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes, it was verified that there was a lot of pilfering, there was a lot of damage, there was a lot of just general chaos when the Clintons left the White House the first time, when Wild Bill left the presidency, and it's very true. And I don't understand how anybody would want to have or accept the fact. Wheels, you've got to turn that down a little bit, please. Accept the fact that Hillary might be elected president. Ma'am, you brought up a really good point, and I appreciate it. Thank you. I think she's gone. Okay, thank you. Wheels, when you hear that echo like that, you listen on your headsets. We got to kind of cut that back a little bit. She evidently had her radio on, too, and so just if you would please ask them to turn their radio down, I'd appreciate it. Okay. But, you know, the Clinton fabric of how they ran things, what they did, there was a uncaring attitude of, boy, we're above the law, we're above any reproach, we'll do this, we'll take that. Yeah, there were a lot of criticisms about that, how they left the White House and offices in disarray, and things were missing, phones were gone, certain pieces of equipment and everything. And the lady brought up an excellent point this morning, and when I look at Hillary Clinton, I see a woman that absolutely has a vindictive look in her eye. I don't think the relationship between her and hubby Bill is one that you'd want to write home about. I think she is absolutely using what happened to her while she was the first wife as a vindictiveness to come into office and say, here, I'm the boss now, and we're all going to adhere to my edicts. This woman looks like she has that glint in her eye that it's not one of a president. It's one of dictatorial and very mean-spirited, and that's why I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't think she's qualified. I think that's proven. Her track record does not allude to anything that she's done or said that makes her above the fray or above anybody else's intelligence. She hasn't done anything really for her country as Secretary of State or the Senator of New York. She hasn't done anything. The only thing that she's riding on right now, and I dare you to tell me I'm wrong, is that she may be the first woman elected as president. That is it. And if that is the value of Hillary Clinton, this country is in really sad shape looking for leadership. I know a lot of the women in the audience that are feminists are going, oh, that's terrible, you can't run her down, you can't do that. She is of no value whatsoever politically. She is of no value on the world scale. She is of no knowledge as to how to solve various problems. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me what she has done. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your call, and let me check with Wheels real quick. Wheels, did you ever get a hold of Brady at all?
No, it just kept going straight to his voicemail like it was turned off or something. So
all right.
I don't know what happened to that.
Well, Brady, if you are listening, you are in a lot of trouble. I'm telling you what, that kid is going to get a what for. Hey, we're going to have the weather right now while we're waiting to see if we can't get a hold of Brady. And the weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don't forget, changing the way we eat one bite at a time, one delicious bite at a time, and they guarantee everything they sell. They've got that hot summer barbecue special for just $199, and they've got ribeye steaks, New York strips, sirloin tips, ground beef, beef patties, pork chops, brats. Oh my goodness, the list goes on and on. A total of 50 pounds of meat for only $199. All of this from Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Morning thunderstorms, about a 40% chance. Rain showers and clouds off and on throughout the day. Winds out of the west right around 6 miles an hour. Expect a high of 82. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better. Winds out of the west right around 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82 with an overnight low of 54. Thursday and Friday, pretty much the same. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the low 80s. And then for Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, dropping down to about 76. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
All right, brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew serving you at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Going back to the story after this phone call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have two items. One is, if you think the politicians are going to get off the dust and do anything, I hope you're not scratching the top of your head because your head will grow there.
Helen, I've got to have faith that maybe somebody will pick up in the personality of like Donald Trump that doesn't care what they say, doesn't care who likes it or not, and might start standing up for their constituents. That's the thought that I'd like to think about politicians.
Well, I hope and pray that you're not sitting on your hand.
Okay.
Okay, the second one, where's Michael Rogers?
Pardon me?
Where's Michael Rogers?
Michael no longer works for my company. He is in Las Vegas and taking his photographs and not doing the weather at all anymore. He's basically concentrating all of his efforts on photography.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I just really enjoyed his weather.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I've got to give kudos to Gina over at the station. She's done a good job filling in with a weather forecast that is as precise, and I really appreciate it.
She is doing a bang-up job, but I still miss Michael.
All right. Well, Helen, appreciate your call as always. Thank you very much.
Have a good one and stay off your hands.
Okay. God bless you. Have a good day. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How do you feel about this with the Boy Scouts ending the ban on gay leaders after an extremely hard, pressure-fought battle with the National LGBT, Lesbian, Gay, and Transgender Rights Group? What do you think about this? The Executive Committee of the Boy Scouts of America has unanimously approved a resolution that would end the organization's blanket ban on gay adult leaders and let individual scout units set their own policy on this long divisive issue. I think it's absolutely capitulation, and I absolutely say no. Boy Scouts, you should have remained tough. You should have remained strong on this. But former Defense Secretary and President of the organization, Robert Gates, said that he and other Boy Scout of America leaders said the ban was likely to be the target of lawsuits that the Scouts were apt to lose. So they were threatened with lawsuits. They capitulated. And now the ban on gays has been lifted. And I, as a parent, would be absolutely really nervous about letting my boy be involved in Boy Scouts. Under the new resolution, local scout units would be able to select adult leaders without regard to sexual orientation, a stance that several scout councils have already adopted in defiance of the official national policy. But you know as well as I do that they will probably be threatened with lawsuits, and the ACLU will be camped on their doorstep. This is absolutely ridiculous. And again, the Boy Scouts of America, criticized by Chad Griffin, president of the Human Rights Campaign, again, a national LGBT rights group. And here's what he said. This is an evil, vile statement. He said, half measures are unacceptable, and discriminatory exemptions have no place in the Boy Scouts. It's long overdue that Boy Scouts of America leaders demonstrate true leadership and embrace a full national policy of inclusion. No, it is not. We are turning everything into, and I'm going to come right out and say it, a queer nation. And it's about time that we stood up for morals, we stood up for what the Bible says, and we stood up for convictions of decency. I think the Boy Scouts have just sold out. Give me your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to have your opinion. Don't weaken on me. Come on, give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best tire value promise in the industry. You better believe it. And what's that, Deanne? Okay, thank you very much. Best tire value promise in the industry with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And they've got many of their top passenger car tire and light car and truck tires on sale, such as the Eclipse passenger car tire, all-season traction, smooth, quiet ride, and the Strategy year-round traction, 60,000-mile warranty, and for the light trucks, the Open Country HT. I mean, they've got the best in tires. They've got the best in brake service, bar none. They've got the best in front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and of course the batteries. The best in service. Please stop in and see them today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, let's get a call in here, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We were supposed to be visiting with the Oakley Vigilantes, and Brady Manning telling us a little bit about what's going on up there at Oakley. And the call coming in, good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, I just had a quick question. The Boy Scouts was about teaching young men or young boys how to be men, correct?
Yes, that's one of their goals, of course, yes.
Okay, well, here's my question. Homosexuals pride themselves on being homosexual, so what does a homosexual know about being a man and teaching a little boy how to be a man?
Yeah, there's so much sickness and pervertedness into this ending the ban on gay leaders. It's just another step through the door to take over every aspect of our lives. They're into our churches. They're into our doctrines. They're into a hatred of the Bible. Now they want to get to where they can have an inroad with these young Boy Scouts. I am so pathetically sick of what's going on in this country with the filth and the vileness of these different groups like the LGBT. I can't do anything but sincerely condemn them on the radio.
Amen.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you much.
Thank you.
I am fed up with the vile and the filth. Good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, I totally agree with you. To me, it's an insult to anybody that's normal as far as... and I will not donate. I've donated every year for the last 40 years. I will not donate another penny, and it's such a disgrace to my son that's an Eagle Scout that I can't tell you. anyway, I hope that these churches that have been supporting Boy Scouts of America also just quit.
You know, I'm glad you said what you said, because I, too, have donated. I have given a lot of time. I've given some out of my pocketbook for the Boy Scouts. No more. I am not going to be a part or donate to a party that will not stand up for moral values, will not stand up for what's right and wrong, and will capitulate because of fear of lawsuits and basically say, oh, gee, don't hurt us. We'll accept all the vile and filth that you want to give us. I can't support them anymore.
Totally agree. Thanks, Ed.
God bless you, sir. Thank you much. I know I'm going to take heat and criticism over this. Bring it on. Because I'll tell you one thing. If we can't, the old song, I've mentioned it 1,000 times on this program by Aaron Tippett. If you can't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. That's exactly what's happened to the Boy Scouts of America. I was always very proud of where they stood, their moral values. I was proud of their program. And now the capitulation, the basically saying, we surrender, don't hurt us, don't come after us, we'll just take any filth or vile that you give us, go ahead. That's sickening. Absolutely sickening. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. You know, one of the quotes that came in from Southern Evangelical Seminary President Richard Land, he said, if you put them in compromising situations, meaning gay leaders, if you put them in compromising situations that you are sometimes in with scout leaders and scouts in terms of camping and other situations, it could lead to great tragedy for children. It's best to avoid the temptation. But the Boy Scouts of America have weakened. The Boy Scouts of America have let the devil and the wolf inside the house. I think it's terrible. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'll give you a quick review of what we're going to have on the program tomorrow. We're going to have Carrie Ricketts come on the program, and I think she's going to be talking about Central Idaho 4-H Camp celebrating a 50th anniversary. And then we're going to have some members of the Idaho Cattle Association, while they are up in Boise attending the convention, are going to be standing around on the floor of the convention and also going to various projects while we have them on the air. So that's going to be interesting. And then also we're going to have our monthly fishing game report. So all of this and much more coming up on tomorrow's program, including all of your calls. By the way, too, Thursday is Lunch Bunch Day, and I know Wheels is going to be wheeling out of the station, wheeling over to Denny's, and that starts at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant in Burley. Don't forget that. Call her quickly. I've got about a minute left.
Just curious how long it's going to take for them to capitulate on the Scout Oath that talks about being morally straight.
I don't know. I mean, I think you feel the same way I do. This is a farce. This is an absolute sham. And I'm not going to say I condemn until I find out more about what happened, but I'm going to say that I highly say negative things about the Boy Scouts leadership right now because they capitulated, they weakened, and I think they put Boy Scouts in harm's way.
So it makes it increasingly more difficult to want to support them.
Absolutely, sir. I agree with you 1,000%. Thank you for your call.
Have a good day.
I think you'll find most of my callers would agree with me, and I appreciate their calls. I am really sickened and saddened by what the Boy Scouts Executive Committee did in ending the ban on gay leaders. I think they have put in harm's way, definitely dangerous harm's way, the Boy Scouts of America. I'll be back tomorrow starting at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch. God bless you and your family. The way things were, the way things ought to be. You have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.